9th WNBA Finals. Exciting night here in Las Vegas as the Aces prepare to take on the Phoenix Mercury in the first ever best-of-7 finals series.
What if I told you that the single greatest threat hanging over the future of the WNBA isn't a lack of corporate funding, not a toxic locker room rivalry, and not even the chaos of an unpredictable media landscape, but rather the terrifying rise of one single franchise becoming so overwhelmingly powerful that it sends the entire league into a state of full-blown, uncontrollable panic? For decades, the WNBA has carefully engineered every inch of its structure, from draft systems to salary cap restrictions and free agency rules, all with one central goal in mind: to maintain competitive balance. The league has always worked tirelessly to ensure that elite talent is distributed evenly across all franchises, giving every team a fair chance to compete, build a fan base, and chase championships. This delicate ecosystem wasn't created by accident. It was built on the fundamental belief that no single market should dominate the league to such an extent that it overshadows the rest. Television networks, corporate sponsors, and local fan bases all depend on this balance. Because once that balance is broken, the entire system starts to wobble. And now, for the first time in years, that system is showing very real signs of collapse. Because the moment Caitlin Clark stepped onto the hardwood wearing an Indiana Fever jersey, everything changed. What initially looked like the arrival of a generational superstar has quickly evolved into something far more disruptive. What we are witnessing right now isn't just hype, it's a full-scale shift in power. Rumors are growing louder by the day, spreading across the basketball world like wildfire, suggesting that something massive is unfolding behind the scenes. The possibility that Sophie Cunningham, a fiery, battle-hardened veteran, and Lexie Hull, a rapidly ascending breakout talent, are aligning themselves alongside Clark is no longer just fan speculation. It's being treated as a very real, aggressively developing situation. And behind closed doors, the reaction has been anything but calm. League executives, including Commissioner Cathy Engelbert, are reportedly watching this scenario unfold with increasing frustration and anxiety. Because what's happening here goes far beyond simple roster construction. This is about control, and the growing realization that the league may be losing it. The players are no longer just participants in the system. They're beginning to understand their own leverage, and they're using it in ways that could permanently reshape the league's future. To fully grasp why this situation is triggering such intense concern, you have to understand the sheer magnitude of the Caitlin Clark effect. When she was drafted, expectations were already sky high. Everyone knew she would sell tickets, boost TV ratings, and bring fresh attention to the sport. That part was obvious. But what nobody could have fully predicted was the psychological shift she would create across the entire league. Almost overnight, the Indiana Fever transformed from a struggling, overlooked franchise into the most desirable destination in professional women's basketball. Players across the league began quietly re-evaluating everything. Because playing with Clark isn't just about basketball, it's about opportunity. It's about visibility on a scale that the WNBA has rarely experienced before. In a league where base salaries have historically been limited, players have always relied on overseas contracts and endorsements to secure financial stability. But now, everything is changing. Because right now, there is no brighter spotlight in sports than the one shining directly on Indiana. And being part of that spotlight means more than just exposure. It means opportunity for endorsements, sponsorships, and long-term brand building. Players are doing the math. And the conclusion is simple. Aligning yourself with Caitlin Clark doesn't just elevate your game, it elevates your entire career. This shift has completely rewritten the rules of team building. Traditional factors like city appeal, weather, or franchise legacy are rapidly becoming irrelevant. Players aren't chasing locations anymore, they're chasing platforms. And right now, Indiana is the biggest platform in the league. And as that gravitational pull grows stronger, the Fever are quietly assembling something that looks increasingly like a dynasty in the making. A huge part of that transformation has been the emergence of Lexie Hull. Early in her career, Hull was viewed as solid, dependable, but not necessarily a game changer. That narrative flipped almost instantly once she was paired with Clark. Their chemistry was immediate, natural, and incredibly dangerous for opposing defenses. Hull understands how to move within the chaos that Clark creates. She finds open space, capitalizes on defensive breakdowns, and punishes teams that dare to double-team Clark. But what makes their connection even more powerful is what happens off the court. Their friendship has exploded across social media, turning them into one of the most relatable and engaging duos in the league. Whether it's viral moments, light-hearted content, or genuine camaraderie, fans have completely bought into their dynamic. And that authenticity matters. Because it sends a message to the rest of the league that Indiana isn't just a place to win, it's a place to enjoy the game again. For years, the WNBA has quietly dealt with narratives around stressful locker rooms and difficult team environments. But what Clark and Hull represent is something entirely different: energy, positivity, and a culture that players actually want to be part of. And that kind of culture is magnetic. But despite all of this, there was still one major flaw holding the Fever back: physical toughness. Clark's rookie season exposed it brutally. Night after night, she faced aggressive defense, hard fouls, and relentless pressure. Opponents tested her limits physically, and far too often, there was no immediate response. No pushback. No protection. Teams quickly realized they could target her without consequences. And that's where everything changes. Because the potential addition of Sophie Cunningham introduces an entirely new dimension. Cunningham brings edge. She brings aggression. She brings a fearless mentality that refuses to back down from anyone. She's built her career on intensity, on doing the dirty work that others avoid. In a lineup already loaded with offensive firepower, Cunningham doesn't just add skill, she adds presence. She becomes the enforcer. The player who makes opponents think twice before taking cheap shots. The one who steps in, stands up, and shifts the tone of the game instantly. And when you combine that with Clark's brilliance and Hull's precision, you start to see the blueprint of something truly dangerous. For fans, it's a dream scenario. But for the league, it's a nightmare. Because the WNBA's entire business model depends on balance. It depends on multiple teams being competitive, visible, and relevant. If one team begins to dominate not just on the court but also in media coverage, sponsorships, and fan engagement, it creates a massive imbalance. Broadcast networks will naturally prioritize the most compelling storylines. And right now, that storyline is Indiana. That means more primetime games, more national exposure, and more revenue flowing toward one franchise, while others struggle to keep up. And that's exactly what the league has always tried to prevent. Behind the scenes, frustration is growing rapidly. Rival team owners, many of whom have invested heavily expecting to benefit from the league's overall growth, are now watching as one team absorbs the majority of attention and opportunity. The tension is real. The concern is growing. And the stakes are rising. Because if this trajectory continues, the WNBA could be heading toward a future where one team doesn't just compete, but completely dominates the narrative, the market, and the identity of the league itself. And that's the scenario that has everyone, from executives to owners, asking the same uncomfortable question: what happens if they can't stop it?